Welcome back to Let's Go Crafting. I'm Connie. This is our third video in our Learn to Knit series. If you haven't checked out the first video, which is how to cast on, how to get the stitches onto your needle, or our second one, which teaches us how to do the garter stitch, please check those out, and I've linked those in the description. Today's video will be on how to cast off your project, which means now you've knit something and you need to finish it. You need to get it off your needles. So let's get started. So if you've been knitting along with me, you now have a dishcloth. Dishcloths are great to practice any new stitch that you might be wanting to learn. This is what the garter stitch looks like. Mine, I cast on 40 stitches and it wound up being about 10 inches wide. So I just kept knitting row after row after row until I wound up with a piece of fabric that's about 10 inches long. And now that I'm finished, it's time to cast off. Now, if you recall, each one of these little loops is called a stitch. And we have to work on getting these off of our needle and finishing our project so that the end of our project looks sort of like the beginning. It will look a little bit different, but you'll have a finished edge like that. So casting off is very similar to knitting. So your needles will be parallel. You're going to knit the first stitch exactly like you've been doing all along, where you put your yarn in the back, it comes through the center, your needle goes at 90 degrees, you push that yarn through the old stitch, and the old stitch pops off of the needle. And then you're gonna knit the next stitch just the same way, so you were just knitting. But here, after we finish this second stitch, this is where the difference happens. So if you notice, I now have 2 stitches on my right hand needle. I am now going to pull the back stitch, the one that's farthest from the tip of my needle, and I'm going to pull that up and over the first stitch and off of my needle. And now I only have 1 stitch on the needle. I'm going to knit another stitch, making sure it goes from back to front through the center. Now again, I have 2 stitches on my needle. I'm going to take my needle. You can take your needle or you can use your fingers. You take this second stitch and you pull it over the first stitch and off of the needle. So now, if you can see, you have the first stitch that we cast off, which is right here. That's this one. And the second stitch we cast off is this one right here, if you see that stitch. Let's do another one. I'm gonna pull, see how my loop has kind of gotten a little bit big? I'm gonna pull it so it's slightly smaller. So I'm gonna knit another stitch. And again, I have 2 stitches on my needle. This time I'm just going to use my fingers. I'm going to take this back stitch and pull it over the tip of the needle and leave that front stitch on. And I'm going to do it again. I like to use the tip of my needle, but you can use your fingers if that works better for you. Can you hear my chickens? They're right over there. It's kind of funny. And here's another one. And you're going to do that all the way to the end of your project until you have the last 2 stitches on this needle. And that's where our next video will pick up. If you enjoy these videos and you don't want to miss one, please subscribe to our channel and then hit the little bell. That'll make sure you get notified whenever a new video happens. And the best way you can help us is to like and share our videos. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Bye.